Hello, everybody. Welcome into episode 3 of Full Gongshow. Well, I can't believe we're already 3 episodes in. It's crazy. Ben Thomas here, like usual. And just going to be recapping the week. You know how this ordeal goes. So we're going to recap Wednesday night through Saturday evening. NHL action, obviously. But before we get into that, I mentioned on Wednesday I was feeling pretty sick. I feel much better now. Feel a whole lot better now. Got a little busted lip. The YouTube watchers will be able to see it. But other than that, I'm doing pretty well, honestly. It's been a long day already. It's about 6:20 on Sunday. And yeah, also, right before we dive into it, I do want to give a quick shout out. Like I said, this is brand new. 3 episodes in, I haven't even shared this publicly to people, like my friends and family. Like, I wanted to build a few episodes before I got it out there. And I got a phone call yesterday while I was at a wedding. I was at a wedding on Saturday for my friends Chandler and Liz. Congrats to them as well. I get this call from Nova Scotia, Canada, and it was somebody who had come across my pod. Whether it was I forgot if they mentioned it was the YouTube one or just the podcast. I'm pretty sure it's probably the YouTube. And they just told me how much they enjoyed it and they loved it and they can't wait for more episodes. And so whoever that is, I didn't get your name. I did not get your name. I'm sorry. Should have asked. But yes, thank you for listening. I hope you see this in this next episode. And yeah, that's awesome. I appreciate it so much. Little things like that make my day. I think I told you that as well. I said, you just made my day. So I loved that. I loved it so freaking much. It was awesome. And to hear that it was from somebody from Canada, like not even what I was expecting at all. So super cool, super awesome. I hope you keep listening, keep watching as I keep pouring these out to you. So thank you to that big fan of mine. I really appreciate it. And I, keep listening. I love it. So let's dive right into it, though. Let's dive into the NHL action. I just had to give that person a shout out. I had to. So let's dive right into it with Wednesday night. Let's start it off with Wednesday night. We had a full slate of NHL action on Wednesday, and by full slate, I'm lying. I mean, there were only 4 games. Picked 2 of them. The first one was Sabres against Toronto. The Sabres just wiped the floor with Toronto. They won 5-1, ending their 6-game losing streak. Jeff Skinner, who's kind of had a little bit of revival this year after, not having a great, that contract's outrageous, $9 million for a guy that's really not worth that at all. And he's been kind of slowly playing, maybe not worth $9 million, but maybe more like a $7 million player. Had a goal and assist. Dylan Cousins had 2 assists. And Craig Anderson, he's from nearby in Illinois, where I'm from. Awesome guy. I met him. He's super cool, super down to earth. He made 29 saves. It's great to see him. I thought he retired, to be completely honest. So it's great to see him getting some action. For this Buffalo team that, it's Buffalo. They're struggling like always. So it was overall just a super hard-fought game. Buffalo's defenseman, Jacob Bryson, got a goal as well. I don't know if it was his first, but I know he did score one. So he opened the scoring with a power play goal. Clearly, because it doesn't say he scored his first, I'm going to assume it's not his first. I didn't recognize his name personally. I probably should have known that. But yeah, so that was that. Tage Thompson made it 3-1. Kyle Caposo had a goal as well. This team, Buffalo, is Buffalo, man. There's not a whole lot to talk about. They traded Jack Eichel. Kind of had to. Like that. They're going nowhere. Which stinks because Buffalo has such an awesome. This is why I want to talk about them because usually I wouldn't talk about Buffalo, but I got to give my rant about them here or there. They have such a passionate fan base. I mean, come on. People are breaking tables in the parking lot for Buffalo Bills games. You don't think you wouldn't see that in the parking lot for a Buffalo Sabres game if they were just so good. Heck, they do it on the ice. They'd break a table on the ice if they could. So that Buffalo just needs to get it going. They just can never find a coach. They can never find the right pieces. Just nothing ever works there. I like Don Granato, their head coach right now. Really good guy, good at developing, which I think Buffalo needs. They just have so many young pieces, and they're going to continue to get younger and younger. But they have some studs. They do. They got Owen Powers, who's going to be there soon. Rasmus Dahlin is still a really good young talent. They picked up, Alex Tuck in that deal for Jack Eichel. He's relative, I would say, more experienced, obviously, but he would be a veteran in that locker room, but he's a veteran at like 27. Still somewhat young. So it was just, hey, that was just overall, Buffalo, hey, look at that. 5-1 win over Toronto, one of the best teams in the league. Not bad at all. Mitch Marner he had an assist in his 400th NHL game. He extended his point streak to 5 games, which includes 12 points in 5 games. He has scored 415 points, which is the most by any Maple Leafs player at the time of his 400th career game. And that says something because Toronto's an original 6 team, and they have had some Hall of Fame legends on their team. So props to them for sure. But overall, hey, my props mainly are going to go to Buffalo here. They deserve it. They earned it. That's a hard-fought win. Toronto was on a 3-game winning streak, and it's now over because of Buffalo. So good for Buffalo. Hopefully, maybe string a couple wins, get something going for next year. This season's obviously over. But next season, maybe get something going. So next game from Wednesday night, the Seattle Kraken. Remember I talked about them, how bad they are? Yeah, guess what? They won. They ended their 7-game skid with a win against the Predators. Colin Blackwell broke the tie in the third with a shorthanded goal. And then for Nashville, Roman Josi scored his 500th career point in the game. But it was a 4-3 win at home for Seattle. Colin Blackwell scored shorthanded. He was actually the guy that Nashville gave up in the expansion draft. I guess Seattle drafted him from Nashville. And so he got that win against his former team. That's kind of huge. I bet he was pumped after that. That's for sure. Yanni Gordon, Tampa Bay Lightning, Stanley Cup champion Yanni Gordon now on Seattle. He had a goal and an assist. And Chris Driedger made 19 saves. They only gave up 19 saves. He gave up 3 goals. Only gave up 22 shots. That's not bad. That's a really good defensive game right there. This is their first win since February 11th. To put that into context, it's March 6th when I'm making this video. That game was March 2nd. Yeah, almost an entire month without a win. Even their coach mentioned it. Just had great game defensively. Penalty kill was 2 for 3. This is a great game 5-on-5. Now moving to the other side for the Preds, obviously Roman Josi had 2 assists, so he not only got his 500th, but his 501st NHL point. UC Saros, who I think is one of the best goalies in the game, the best young goalie too. I think he's going to become the next Pekka Rinne. Where the Predators will make the playoffs, maybe not win it all, maybe go to a cup final here or there, but they're going to have a goalie that is just going to win them games and just lock that door, and that is UC Saros. And he's going to be a pain in the butt to play against, and that is UC Saros. So I think he's super exciting. It was his 200th game for the Predators, and it was their first game since losing to Tampa Bay in the Stadium Series I talked about on the first episode. And so, yeah, it was overall a great game. Like I said, mentioned another team, just Buffalo and Seattle, man. You just usually don't expect them to win, and they won. They were actually down 2-0 and stormed back. They scored 3 goals in a span of 2 minutes and 39 seconds to take a 3-2 lead. It was Wenberg. I think it's Alex Wenberg. I think it's Alex Wenberg. Cut it 2-1. Scored on a 2-on-1 from Marcus Johansson. Calle Jarnkrok, another former Nashville Predator. He tied it 2-2, which he probably loves scoring against Nashville. And then Jordan Eberle and Yanni Gordon put the Kraken ahead on a backhander after a cross-ice pass from Blackwell. So, Jordan Eberle assisted on Calle Jarnkrok's goal, and Yanni Gordon put the lead for Seattle. Other than that, not too much else from that game. Seattle was outscored 29-13 in their skid, and they outshot the Predators 15-3 in the third period. They gave up 3 shots that entire third period. Nuts! That's a great defensive game. just an amazing defensive game. And for Seattle, they don't have that much. To me personally, other people might disagree, but to me personally, I don't think they have a lot of talent up front besides Yanni Gordon, Callie Yarncroc, and Jordan Eberle. But defensively, I think they have some pretty good studs on the back end. Giordano, Hayden Fleury, Cale Fleury. They just have some really good younger pieces and a couple just savvy vets as well. So, and their goaltending is good too. Grubauer and Drieger, if they can just get goals and some forwards, I think they could be. And obviously, you need to progress these guys and make them better, make them more NHL caliber guys. So, but Seattle could be good. They could be. They could have drafted a whole lot better. They could have been really good a lot sooner, honestly. But sometimes teams want to take, the 2-3 year route, and that totally makes sense. I totally understand that. So I'm not, discrediting that at all. Hey, Hawks are 1-0 now. Look at that. Woohoo! Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm getting in-game updates. Sorry. So speaking of the Blackhawks, awesome transition, Ben. Just amazing. We're moving on to Thursday's games. That was a full slate of NHL action. We have a ton of games. I'm going to talk about 4 of them because there was that many. First one, Duncan Keith played 16 seasons for the Blackhawks. He was traded to Edmonton. He needed to be closer to home. Totally understood it. He's getting up there in age. The Hawks really are hitting this rebuild now. So it was his first return to Chicago. It was also Nicholas Hjalmarsson legacy night. Nicholas Hjalmarsson in the 2010s was probably one of the best defensive defensemen in the NHL. That dude always led in blocked shots. He had over 1,100 blocked shots while he was with the Blackhawks. And that was before he went to Arizona and he kept doing the same thing. Him and Johnny Oduya are the 2 guys I remember from those cup winning teams because they would just block shots for days. If it was not Keith and Seabrook out there, it was Hjalmarsson and Oduya. They were just as important as Keith and Seabrook on that back end. If not more important, honestly. Let's be completely honest here. They were honestly more important. So, awesome to see all of them back. Taves was back in the lineup. The Hawks got healthy. So the ceremonial puck drop was Keith and Taves with Hjalmarsson dropped. It was just tears flowing from my eyes. I was like, this is so beautiful. I miss the old days. Oh, my God, I miss those cup runs. But back to the game. The Hawks won 4-3 at home, and the UC was rocking. They took down McDavid. Alex DeBrincat scored a power play goal 2 minutes into overtime. Kaner just kept feeding the puck to him. He missed it the first time. Kaner got it back. He slid it right over, buried it the second time. He was not going to miss twice, especially with a wide-open net. To win the game, Patrick Kane continued his tear that he is on with a goal and an assist. Fleury made 29 saves for the Hawks. And like I said, Taves was back. Tyler Johnson was back. Riley Stillman was back. The Hawks were just getting healthy. Draisaitl scored in this game, his NHL leading 38th goal of the season. I do know for a fact that Matthews did regain the lead. I think it was yesterday. I got that notification. McDavid had 2 assists. Evander Kane had 2 goals for Edmonton. And Koskinen made 28 saves. He was 7-0-2 in his past 9 starts before dropping this game. Obviously, it was an overtime loss. They still got a point, so it was still all right. But he had a pretty good game. Dominic Kubalik gave the Hawks the lead. Koskinen, tried to clear it, but he just, put it along the boards, and it literally went straight to Dominic Kubalik, not even a defenseman, and Kubalik just immediately shot it and scored. Like I said, Evander Kane tied it up with 50 seconds left on a turnover from Seth Jones. And then DeBrincat buried it in overtime. Sam Lafferty got to shout him out. He was a trade acquisition from Pittsburgh in the Alex Nylander deal. He scored his first with the Hawks. So I was happy to see that as well. And then Kaner obviously had a goal, and Kaner's just Patrick Kane. Who else? What else? What else do I have to say about Patrick Kane? But Duncan Keith was honored with a tribute video. Gosh, I was bawling my eyes out during it. I won't lie. They didn't even go to commercial break. I was watching it from home, and I'm like, oh, my God, I can't go out in public right now. And like I said, 16 seasons. He ranks first among Hawks defensemen in games played, second in assists, second in points, all time. And 3 Cups and a Conn Smythe and 2 Norris trophies. I mean, it was everything. It was awesome to have him back. It was just great. It was cool to see Duncan Keith. I wish, he was still a Hawk, and I wish, the Hawks were making cup runs, but I understand the circumstance. So moving on to the next game from Thursday. It was a game I highlighted on the Sunday pod about games to keep an eye out for, and that was Pittsburgh Penguins, Tampa Bay Lightning. Penguins ended Tampa Bay's 5-game winning streak with a 5-1 victory. Look at that. So Geno Malkin, my boy, had a goal and 2 assists for Pittsburgh. Vasilevsky made 35 saves for Tampa, but that was just it just wasn't their night. Usually Tampa's on, but hey, Tampa, you're allowed to have an off night every once in a while, that's for sure. Pierre-Edouard Bellemare scored for the Lightning. So they just couldn't get production from their top guns, and you got to give Pittsburgh credit for that. If you're able to lock down Stamkos, Kucherov, Braden Point, all those guys, you're going to beat this Lightning team. They're beatable, don't get me wrong, but it's usually pretty hard to shut down those top guys. And Thursday night was one of those nights that they were able to. Crosby, Jake Gensel, Danton Heinen, all 3 of them had a goal and assist for Pittsburgh, who's now winning 3 straight. And Tristan Jarry, 20 saves. Tristan Jarry's been looking good lately. He's been looking that. Let's wait till we get to the playoffs to see how he really does. But because he's never been that good in the playoffs. So that's how it goes. But this Pittsburgh team's off and running. They're one of the hotter teams in the league, one of the best teams in the league, obviously. I mean, you got Crosby and Malkin just doing their thing. And then you have a bunch of depth. Jake Gensel's a stud. Brian Russ, they always just get like these guys that just come out of nowhere and just produce for them. Brian Rust, Evan Rodriguez, Danton Heinen, like guys that they'd be on other teams and they wouldn't do anything. They come to Pittsburgh, you put one of them, you plug them in next to Crosby and Jake Gensel, they're going to light it up. You plug them in with Malkin, lighting it up. Like, that's what you want, obviously. You want that. So, but it's just like, it's always Pittsburgh. No other team can do it. It's always Pittsburgh. It's like plugging a guy with Patrick Kane. He's going to do well because he's Patrick Kane. But you plug him anywhere else in the lineup, he ain't going to do anything. So Crosby, with that goal and assist, has scored 6 points during his 5-game point streak. Scored his 75th game-winning goal, tying Malkin for second in Penguins history behind Jaromir Jagr with 78, the legend Jagr. Pittsburgh is 19-6-3 on the road. That's 41 road points. And they continue. Like I said, they did that they beat Lightning 5-1 on the road. If you can win on the road too, like they're already so good at home, but winning on the road is huge. Huge. And especially like playoffs and stuff like that. Obviously, playoffs are a different vibe, Obviously, like the crowd amped up more. It's much harder to win on the road. But if you can do it consistently during the regular season, and as much as Pittsburgh has, they're going to be set when it comes playoff time. Like, they just find a way to win on the road, and it's impressive. So moving on to our second to last game from Thursday. Yeah, we're on Thursday. Yeah, we're still doing Thursday. I forgot I just started. I don't know why I'm thinking like we're so deep into this pod. Yeah, it's only been 15 minutes. Probably not even. So Boston traveled to Vegas and came out victorious, 5-2. Pasternak scored twice. Trent Frederick had 3 assists for Boston, and they've won 6 of their last 7. Craig Smith, though, MVP of that game. Hat trick, his 3rd career NHL hat trick. And like I said, Pasternak had 2 goals. Frederick, 3 assists. Jeremy Swayman, who's coming off his Rookie of the Month honors, continues to win again, making 34 saves for Boston. He just has been lights out for him. You just got to keep feeding him starts. He's definitely the future. Jeremy Swayman is the future in Boston, unless, literally he blows up. But other than that, it's his now. Tuukka's gone. Linus Ullmark will only stay for so long. It's his time. It's his net. So, and he's been excellent. Excellent. I mean, Boston's a very good defensive team. They have a very good system with Bruce Cassidy, but you got to have a goalie that is somewhat decent, and this kid is more than that. So, they just got great secondary support that night. Like I said, Pasternak did his thing, getting 2 goals, but Craig Smith getting a hat trick. is not, you're not your first line guy. Obviously, that first line is Bergeron, Marchand, and Pasternak. You're not talking about Craig Smith usually. So now I am. I didn't think on episode 3 of the podcast I'd be talking about Craig Smith, but I am. So Jack Eichel scored for Vegas along with Jonathan Marchessault. And Robin Landerman, 31 saves in the losing effort. Again, with this Vegas team, it's just like they're hot and cold sometimes. Like, they're very good. They'll make the playoffs, maybe even make a little bit of a run in the playoffs. They're going to be a deep team. They're going to get a lot of guys back. Pacioretty, they're going to get back. They already got Robin Lehner who can lock that door. Really good defensively with Shea Theodore, Martinez, Petrangelo. Like, so good. A very good team. But they just have these flashes sometimes where they can just light it up one night. Next night, they're losing 5-2, and it's just like a bad defensive game. And you're just kind of like, all right, cool. Like, all right, sure. They lost Brayden McNabb in the second period, which is tough. I'm not too sure. I haven't heard any updates on them. I didn't look it up, so I could not tell you if he's back or not. But in their last 9 games, Vegas is 1 for 18 on the power play. They have so many weapons. It's like that is what always upsets me when teams have a plethora of weapons. Believe me, I've had to deal with it with the Blackhawks for years. Even cup runs, they were bad. Teams with numerous numbers of weapons in both power play units have guys that would be number 1 guys on power play units anywhere else in the league, and you are 1 for 18. How? Just how? You are given the advantage of having an extra guy out there, and you cannot do squat with it. Like, think about when it comes to the playoffs. If let's say Vegas was fully healthy, your first power play line is probably what? Shea Theodore, Petrangelo. Actually, not even that. Probably just Petrangelo. Shea Theodore's probably running the second, which he would be number 1 on any team. Probably Petrangelo, Eichel, Marchessault. Man, I don't even know. What am I at? I'm at 4. I need like one more guy. Probably Eichel, Marchessault, Pacioretty, Petrangelo. Man, I can't even think of this team. But already those 4, you're going to tell me they're going to go 1 for 18 on a power play? No way. Like, I wouldn't believe you. So they need to figure it out. But Vegas always finds a way. They're just, like I said, still going to make the playoffs. Not a big deal. It's 1 game. So I'm done with my rant now. But now moving over to a last game for Thursday, and I'm going to take a quick water break before I dive into Friday and Saturday games. The Arizona Coyotes. Look at that. They beat Colorado 2-1 at home. And all right, I'm going to butcher this name. Please forgive me. Carell Vashmelka. Yes, he catches with his right hand. He's a righty goalie. He was making his first start since February 19th and had lost 7 of his last 8 games, made 42 saves. Reason why I picked this game is because I wanted to talk about this guy because I got to witness him personally with my own eyes. I was in Arizona January 7th, I think, of this year. The Hawks were in town. I traveled with them. I was doing a Vegas trip with my dad. And we started in Arizona because the Hawks were there. I got an awesome selfie with Mackenzie Entwistle and Kirby Dach, but that's a story for another time. And this kid started, and I was like, who the heck is this guy? Great. All right, the Hawks are about to light him up. And they didn't. This kid stood on his head, was making unbelievable saves left and right, sliding post to post, robbing guys, robbing DeBrincat, Kane, like pure snipers that the best goalies in the world have trouble stopping these guys. And this dude was making it look easy. I was like, what is going – who is this kid? It was blowing my mind. And now look at – he plays Colorado, best team in the league, 4 lines of absolute studs, 42 saves, gives up 1 goal. Like, all right, cool. Like, he just went out there and stood on his head and did his thing. Nick Schmaltz scored the go-ahead goal, former Blackhawk Nick Schmaltz. And the Coyotes are 2-1-1 against Colorado. Like, huh? Like, why? Like, I don't understand that. It's the most points Arizona has earned against a team this season and is the best team in the league. Devon Taves scored for the Avalanche, and my favorite name in the world, Pavel Francouz, or whatever his name is, made 27 saves for the Avalanche. I didn't pick this game because I wanted to be like, oh no, the Avalanche are in trouble. No, not even close. They're going to win it all, probably. That's my prediction right now. You can write that down. Colorado Avalanche, I think, are going to win it all. But his fourth line of Anton Roussel, Christian Fischer, and Lawson Krause just shut down the McKinnon line or that second line of Landeskog, Kadri, and Alex Newhook. They are just like their guy. That's just their go-to line to match, and they played outstanding. And they've apparently played outstanding all year against this team because they're 2-1-1. So clearly they found a motto that works against Colorado. So I bet a lot of teams will be calling them in the playoffs, being like, hey, how do we stop these guys? How do we stop Nate McKinnon? Because you guys seem to figure it out. So Colorado took the 1-0 lead in the second, 0-0 after the first. And then Louis Eriksson, he has been revived in Arizona. Probably because they were like, yeah, you get to actually play now. But he was in Vancouver on that awful contract, barely played. I think he was put in the minors at one point. They just didn't want to play him because he was not good. He comes down, Arizona, he's putting up decent numbers. I'm not saying he's like, oh, my God, he's back to the old Louis Eriksson. Not even close. Not even close. But he's been putting up some points. It's like Andrew Ladd playing down there. He's been putting up some points. And you got to give him credit where credit is due. And that's just how it is. I'm happy for Louis Eriksson. Sometimes guys like that just kind of deserve that. Sometimes they just need to go to a really bad situation like, Arizona, where you're going to lose every game or most of the games, and you can just go and light it up for a little bit. Maybe get picked up at the trade deadline. Who knows? It was Colorado's first regulation loss in a one-goal game. They were 12-0-4 prior to that. Now they're 12-1-4. So, and when scoring first this season, they were 30-0-3. Now 31-3. Thank you, Arizona, for that. And then I guess a Coyote guy made his NHL debut. So congrats to Matias Maccelli. Played 14 minutes. He was a fourth-round pick in the 2019 NHL draft. Congrats. You made it to the NHL, man. So, yeah, that was all the games from Wednesday and Thursday that I wanted to talk about. We're going to move on to Friday and Saturday here, but I'm going to take a little bit of a quick break, and then I'll be back. So hold on one second. Okay, I'm back. It was super fast. I just need to get some water and pull out my steak. It's steak night every Sunday. Yeah, you're learning a lot about my life here, and one of those things is a steak night every Sunday. Such a move. It's just such a nice way to end your week, You just have a nice steak, get a little something on the sides, some front. No, I'm just kidding. I don't make fries. I just eat the steak. I may have a salad, though. But, yeah, okay, that's enough about my little life here, little life story. But heading into Friday, first game that we will be talking about is the Dallas Stars, a team I usually do not like talking about because I don't like Dallas teams or the Dallas Stars by any means because I'm a Hawks fan. Sorry. I'm going to be, I can be partial. It's okay. It's my pod. I can do what I want. So, yeah. So, let's see. But would I work for the Dallas Stars if they ever, if I apply for something? Yes. Just throwing that out there, just in case they're watching or listening. I would still work for you guys. No worries. They took down Winnipeg 4-3. Jason Robertson. This kid, okay, I have to give credit where credit is due. Miro Hayskin and this Jason Robertson, are the absolute only two studs on the Dallas Stars. I don't care about Tyler Sagan. I don't care about Jamie Benn. They're washed to me at this point. These two kids, though, real young upcoming pieces for this Dallas Stars team to go along with Rupe Hintz, who I also think is really good too. They're going to, those are your pieces. Those are your next up-and-coming core pieces for the Dallas Stars. Jason Robertson, though, had a hat trick. His first NHL hat trick in the game. He scored with 30 seconds remaining in overtime to complete it. Almost didn't get the chance, but he was able to give Dallas their win on the road. This kid is a natural goal scorer. He puts the puck in the net. He's got great hands. calm with the puck, and it showed. I mean, he scores usually, but now he got his hat trick, and I think it was on display against Winnipeg. Braden Holtby, man, I haven't said that name in it feels like so many years. He made 39 saves. They extended their point streak, Dallas, to 5 games. They're 4-0-1. And let's see. What other crazy things happened in this game? Oh, yeah, Denis Gurianov tied it with 15:28 of the third period with a wrist shot. There's a little simple wrist shot. He had a nice screen, though. He had some help from Jason Robertson. And he buried it. Nikolai Ehlers had an assist. He returned from knee injury in this game. Paul Stastny, who probably is going to be retiring soon. Man, that's a name. Like, sometimes, like, there's players I just say their names. I'm like, oh, man, I forgot about you. Forgot you're still playing. Paul Stastny's one of them. He scored 2 goals for the Jets, and Hellebuck made 30 saves. They got their point. You got a point. You just couldn't get those 2 points. And so, tough, but hey, a point is a point, honestly. And especially for, like, Dallas and Winnipeg, who are kind of hovering around that wild card spot, they need all the points they can get. So both teams probably were very happy with that. Tyler Sagan and Miro Hayskin, though, 2 names I had just mentioned, did not play. They were game time decisions. They did not play. They were under the weather. So I think they were probably just had a cold or something like that, like me. But see, difference between me, Tyler Sagan, I still performed. I still gave you guys a pod. Even when I was sick, home, didn't go to class, I still sat down and gave you a pod. Was it the best? No. But I still did it. So, take that, Tyler Sagan. All right, moving on now before I, go crazy. We had another hat trick. I'm only talking about 2 games, by the way, from Friday, and there was like a full slate. But I was just like, I don't need to be on here for 2 hours talking about games. It was the LA Kings. Remember I talked about them getting murdered by the Boston Bruins? Yeah, guess what? They won. They must have listened to me. They beat Columbus in overtime, 4-3 on Friday. Victor Arvidsson, another former Pred, doing some damage on another team. He completed a hat trick. He scored twice. Los Angeles scored twice in the third to tie the game. Columbus had 3 goals in 46 seconds in the second. Like, this game was just wild. Arvidsson, like I said, completed his 4th NHL hat trick. A minute left in overtime. So Robertson beat him. He did it in 30. It was much cooler to do it with much less time. But technically, yes, Victor Arvidsson beat him in time. I know. So, scored on a breakaway. After apparently Boone Jenner finished it, and then they went to goal review, and it was offsides. But Victor Arvidsson did end it for the LA Kings. Jonathan Quick made 26 saves for the Kings, who had lost 2. Quick had lost 2. He did have a 5-game winning streak, then lost 2. Now he's back in the win column. And then Elvis Merzlikins for Columbus made 39 saves. He had won 5 of his last 7 before dropping this game. But again, a point is a point. They each got them going to overtime. So, tough loss. Definitely if you're Columbus. Like I said, Boone Jenner technically had the game finished, done with, and then the call was overturned. Patrick Laine tied it at 1-1. He continues another guy like Kaner, just an absolute tear lately. That is now 24 points in his past 15 games. And in those 15 games, he has 15 goals. He has a goal a game in his last 15 games. I mentioned it before. Absolute, just pure sniper. Like, that dude puts that puck anywhere he wants, whenever he wants, from whatever angle he wants. He will do it. But, yeah, just congrats to Arvidsson on that hat trick, man. That's awesome. Los Angeles was still without their coach, Todd McClellan. Missed his 5th game. He's in COVID-19 protocols. But, hey, you got to win without your head coach. Look at that. So, it was just an overall great win for the Kings. And a team, like I said, they have some pieces. They can bolster up that defense, and Jonathan Quick can find some early 2010s Jonathan Quick magic. that team could be back in the playoffs very soon. They got a good young pieces. Quentin Byfield, I like the kid. He's good. That kid's going to be a stud someday. Good. I see just him as a power forward. He's just going to be a guy that's going to be up and down that ice, two-way guy, and he's either going to put you into the boards, he's going to dish out some assists, or he's going to put that puck in the net. One of those three. Or all three. Honestly, he might just do all three. So, moving on to Saturday, last little stretch of games here. I only picked 3 games from the Saturday slate, which, like I said, another one, just full slate of action here. Nashville. We actually had 2 games on Saturday with 8 goals. Not total. The winning team had 8 goals. First one was Arizona-Ottawa, I want to say. I totally am blanking on it. I just saw it. I forgot. I think it's that. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to look it up. I'm going to look it up real fast. 1-8. I know it was over Ottawa. I know Ottawa lost. Let's put it like that. I know Ottawa lost. They had 5. And it was, Arizona. Arizona beat Ottawa 8-5. So congrats to them. They've been on a little tear here lately. Arizona's looking not too shabby as of late. It's just 2 games in the entire season, but still. So back to the other one though. Nashville beat San Jose 8-0. Just like Boston over LA, just an absolute murder. Pred scored 8 goals, shut out the Sharks. UC Saros made 20 saves. He faced 20 shots. That's probably the easiest night of his life. 8 goals right in front of him and only 20 shots. And I bet you not a lot of them were that difficult either. I'm going to just throw that out there. Alex Stalock, it was his first start in more than a year, and he gets pulled. I feel really bad for him. That sucks. But Michael McCarron had 2 goals and 2 assists for the Preds. One of their third, fourth line guys. Matt Luff had 2 goals and assists. Matthew Shane scored twice. Roman Yossi had 4 assists. It was a great way to bounce back after their last 2 losses, like I mentioned, Tampa Bay in the Stadium Series, and then a game I talked about earlier today against Seattle, 4-3. So a full 60 minutes played by Nashville, and now you see what they can do. They could put 8. They're pissed about their last 2 losses, and they were like, you know what, San Jose, super sorry. I know you guys have lost 2 straight now and are 2-6-4 in their last 12, but we're going to murder you real fast. I really need to stop using murder as my go-to. Demolished, destroyed, like something like that. Let's go with that. But, yeah, Alex Stalock, he was acquired by Edmonton, or he was acquired by San Jose from Edmonton on Wednesday, was pulled after he allowed 6 goals on 28 shots, First NHL game since August 7th of 2020. You got to face 28 shots. Like, you made it decently far in the game, but, 6 goals, not too great. And then the other guy, Zach Sawchenko, made 6 saves and gave up 2 more. So, not a great game for San Jose, but an awesome game for Nashville, if you ask me. And I think UC Saros will take 20. He'll take a night where he gets 20 shots and has to only make 20 saves. He'll take it. So, moving on to another game. Austin Matthews. This is the game I was talking about. He took the goal-scoring lead. He got goals number 38 and 39, but it was still not enough as the Vancouver Canucks took down Toronto 6-4. They rallied with 3 straight goals in the third to take them down. They scored the final 3 goals all in the third period and won. They won in Toronto for the first time in 13 games. Since December 17th, 2011, they are 0-11-1 in Toronto when facing the Maple Leafs. Now, the next game I'm talking about after this one, if you think that's bad, just wait. I got one that's just as bad, and I'm not going to be a huge fan of talking about it. But, yes, there's one just as bad as that. So, overall, though, Toronto just they had their chances. Had their chances, but just couldn't do it. It was tied 4-4. Then the Canucks took the lead 5-4. And then Toronto tied it up. I'm pretty sure they tied that up then. But I'm not too sure. I'm just trying to read, I look at the recaps, stuff like that. No, never mind. Vancouver made it 6-4. Just a bad – it hit off of it was an empty net. I forgot the game was only 6-4. What was I talking about? I was talking about like an 8-5 game or something like that. There were just so many of them. My apologies. No, the game was tied 4-4. Then Alex Chason gave the lead 5-4 with 6:55 left. And then an empty netter by Tyler Mott with 20 seconds left to make it 6-4. That fifth goal, though, just off of Jack Campbell's blocker and just trickles in. It just was not great. Pearson's also deflection trickled past Campbell. He just hasn't looked that great. He's allowed 19 goals in his past 4 games. His 3 starts, he's 0-2-1. He made 23 saves. Obviously gave up 6, so he faced 29 shots. Jonathan Tavares ended his 14-game goal drought, but he had an assist. Wayne Simmons, though. Congrats to Wayne Simmons. I used to hate him when he was on Philly, but now I like Wayne Simmons. He played in his 1,000th game. So I honestly didn't even know if he'd ever get there. But props to him, though. You did. You proved, I think, a lot of people wrong. He's still playing well, too. He's still doing real well. He's a great third-line guy for Toronto. He's just a mean, big body, can score, can dish out the puck a little bit, but he is not afraid to just run you into the boards. That is for sure. It was Toronto's second straight loss. And, yeah, just Jack Campbell. That's mainly the storyline here, is just Jack Campbell. He is just not having a good stretch of hockey here. And they have Peter Mrazek. Like, they have a really good goalie right behind him. But this was supposed to be, like Jack Campbell's team because he proved it behind Freddie Anderson last year. And he's just not – he has very hot and cold flashes. Sometimes he'll be just on. And other times just nope, he's just so far off. So we'll see what we get. Maybe Toronto doesn't get past the first round again because of Jack Campbell. And then we'll see, a goalie deal. I bet they would trade him. If they don't make it past the first round and he's the reason, I bet they move him. But speaking back to Wayne Simmons, he's the 3rd player from the 27 NHL draft, playing his 1,000th game behind Patrick Kane and Jakob Voracek. Jacob Voracek, I don't remember. Second-round pick, 521 career points. So, again, congrats to him. That 2007 NHL draft class, I don't really know if it's that great. Obviously, you have Patrick Kane leading the way in it, the best guy in that draft. But, hey, Wayne Simmons, you're the 3rd to make it to 1,000 games. So, congrats to that. Toronto will be back. They'll be back. Vancouver, though, after they fired their head coach and hired Bruce Boudreau, they were on a tear. But I think they're going to be sellers at the trade line. Looking like JT Miller's going to be on the move. I think they just kind of threw in the towel. Elias Pettersson's not having, a standout year. I think it's just a down year for them. I think they can compete, though, next year. I think they're going to kind of retool and get right back at it. So keep an eye out for Vancouver, though. And finally, my last game from this Saturday that I'm talking about. The Philadelphia Flyers handed Chicago their 16th straight regular season loss. Do you remember when I said you think 0-11-1 is bad? Try 16 straight losses. They have not – the Hawks' last win – let's put this in perspective. The Hawks' last ever win in Philadelphia, playoffs and regular season, was Patrick Kane's Game 6 overtime winner to win the Stanley Cup in 2010. It is 2022, folks. Believe me, I remember that night in 2010 very well. And they have not won in Philadelphia since then. Kaner just had to win a cup on their ice and set a curse that they would never, ever win in Philly again, I guess. Maybe they just only win in playoffs against Philly. In Philly. Maybe that's just what it is. That's just Chicago's motto. But the Hawks took a 3-2 lead in this game. 2 goals by Dylan Strome. Kaner feeding them left and right like usual. And then here comes the Philadelphia Flyers. Cam Atkinson scored twice and had an assist. In the 4-3 win, Joel Farabee had 3 assists. This kid's going to be a stud. Joel Farabee is going to be a tank in this league. very soon, already making a name for himself. He's going to be really good. Their line is Atkinson, Farabee, and Derek Brassard. He had a goal. They had 7 points in this game. This is their first game together since November 10th. They switched up the lines, and this line popped off. So I bet you see them stick around for a couple games at least. Martin Jones, back up to Carter Hart, made 26 saves. Like I said, Dylan Strum scored twice for Chicago. Kevin Lankinen, in his second game back from injury, made 23 saves. Played pretty well. Just did not get too much help. But, yeah, so 0-15-1 since winning their last regular season game in Philadelphia on November 9th, 1996. Yeah, I told you this one's worse. Told you this one was worse than the Toronto one. I told you. I called it. So, but they did win, like I mentioned, Game 6 of the Cup Finals in Philadelphia. And like I said, the Hawks were up 3-2. They were playing really well. They jumped on them in the second period, and then they just fell apart in that third. They took a 3-2 lead into the third and then just lost it. Alex DeBrincat had another goal in the game. The dude just continues to put the puck in the net. It just was not – it was just – the wheels just always fall off for the Hawks, and I don't understand why. They had 2 more bench minors. They had too many men penalties on the ice in that game. And it's their 4th in the last 2 games. Like, it's just like when things just – anything goes slightly right, the Hawks find a way to just make it slightly not great. So Kirby Dach did have a really bad hit on Kevin Connaughton. I bet he will hear from the league about it. But other than that, man, Philly's not looking too great this year. The Hawks aren't looking too great this year. But the Hawks need to get a win in Philly soon. Jeez, 1996. God, that's just awful. That is just absolutely awful. I'm just embarrassed. I don't even want to talk about it. So that's all the NHL games from Wednesday through Saturday. Like I said, just a lot of really good action. NHL's doing great right now, man. Lots of great action. I like just turning on the TV every night, and there's always a game I can watch. That's going to be a good one. So I'm enjoying it. I hope you guys are enjoying it as well. We're getting ready for the playoffs. The trade deadline's 3 weeks away, but the NHL playoffs are just a month or 2 away, so we're getting ready for them. But speaking of NHL news now, only got 2 little stories from the middle of the week on, and that is the Stadium Series. They already renamed it. They already named who's getting it next year. The Carolina Hurricanes are getting a Stadium Series game next year as they will take on Ovi and the Washington Capitals in Raleigh at Carter Finley Stadium, home of the NC State football team, on February 18th of 2023. Just like all Stadium Series, it's going to be super fun, especially on a college campus too. Like the Big House was great for the Winter Classic. I think you're going to start seeing more of these collegiate football stadiums. I petition for you to bring the game to Gaylord Memorial Stadium. NHL, you better be listening. Gaylord Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma. Bring it. Bring the Dallas Stars. Have them play the Hawks. I'll do all of the publicity stuff for it. I got you. But that would be nuts. That actually could be really cool. If you go to like these places, like go to Idaho, play on Boise State's blue field. That'd be sick. Like just random stuff like that. And then just put like Seattle and some other Western Conference team, just throw them in there. Like that would be so funny. But this outdoor game is going to be sweet in North Carolina. Hopefully the weather's nice. I mean, if they can play a game in LA at Dodger Stadium, they could probably play a game in North Carolina in February. It'll be super fun to watch. 55,000 plus people. Caniacs are nuts, man. They're going to be pumped for this game. It is going to be a packed house, definitely for a Carolina Hurricanes game. You can bet money on that. And so let's see. They were supposed to host a Stadium Series game in 2021, but it was canceled due to the coronavirus pandemic. So now they just said, hey, let's move to 2023. They're the 28th NHL team now to play in an outdoor game. And this will be their first. Just like Tampa had their first against Nashville, Carolina's getting their first one as well. So that should be a fun game. That's not, like I said, till February 18th of 2023. It'll be a little time away, but nevertheless, should be a really good game. And against Washington, too. That's just going to be a great matchup. I like that matchup a lot. And score update, the Hawks are up 2-1 on Tampa Bay on a Sunday. I will probably be talking about this game on Wednesday. So we'll see. I'm kind of giving you updates right now, so there's really no need to be talking about it on Wednesday unless something crazy happens. But, hey, 2-1 Hawks. They're winning. That's what I like to see. Will they blow it? Of course. Most likely. But let's hope they not. I hope they don't. I'm hoping for it. And then finally, just the last little NHL news here, and then I'll wrap up the show. Not the show, the pod. Rick Nash. All right. I grew up watching Rick Nash. Rick, I always made sure to get him on, you create your not your fantasy teams. You create a team in NHL video games. Rick Nash was a guy you wanted on your team. Kind of come full circle here. He had his jersey retired by Columbus on Saturday, number 61 to the rafters. This headline perfectly on this NHL.com article about it. Former forward helped to establish the market in Columbus. And I could not think of a more perfect thing to put than that. His number 6, Rick Nash was the guy in Columbus. When, 2000s, 2010s, Columbus, not a hockey market, not, anything special. They had some pieces here and there, but Rick Nash was the guy. He now works for them as a director of player development, and he's doing a heck of a job. That team has some young pieces that are really good and are developing great. But that number 61 goes to the Raptors, and I cannot think of a more deserving guy than that. Face of the franchise for 9 seasons, like I mentioned, helped establish the market. Sean Carell, who's on the Blue Jackets, and Jack Roslovich, both on the Blue Jackets, are both Columbus area kids. And I know for a fact, I watched a video of Jack Roslovich talking about how Rick Nash was his favorite player growing up. And so to sit there on that ice and watch him get his jersey raised, that's one of the best things. That's super cool. They even talked about with Roslovich that when he was 10, he got a 2-Jack Happy Birthday Rick Nash figurine. He got one from him signed. Just goes to show the kind of guy he was. At 18 years old, he was an 18-year-old in 2002, 2003. It was Columbus's 3rd season in the NHL at that time. They traded up to draft him number 1 in the 2002 draft. 6'4", tons of skill. Put it past you with the shot. He was a stud, just a stud. Rick Nash was, and he just was that guy. New franchise, first draft pick, really, and just made an impact. Scored 39 points in 74 games. Was a finalist for the Calder Trophy. Next season, he'd go on to score 57 points in 80 games, sharing the Rocket Richard Trophy with Jerome McGinley and Ilya Kovalchuk for leading NHL in goals with 41. And that was in his 2nd season in Columbus. The guy is just an absolute stud. I think he could make a case for the Hall of Fame. He never got a ring. I think he can make a case, though. Each of his next 7 seasons after that, he scored between 27 to 40 goals, 23 to 39 assists, and between 54 to 79 points. Led to the Blue Jackets to their first Stanley Cup playoffs in team history in 2008, 2009. He was named captain in 2008. He was the best. He was so good. He was traded in 2012, obviously, to the Rangers. And he made the Stanley Cup playoffs 5 times with the Rangers. Made to the finals in 2014, but didn't win. Just did not win. He was going to resign with Columbus in 2018, but he retired due to health reasons. I think he had concussion issues, I want to say. But overall just had health reasons. But a guy totally deserves it. He just deserves that. Like I said, he built that city, gave them a hockey like a team, just a really good hockey team to watch. And just even when teams aren't that great and they're brand new, you need like that guy. You need a guy. And he was that guy. He was that dude. You went to every Columbus Blue Jacket game. Why? Because you wanted to see Rick Nash. It's kind of like, hey, you want to go to a Hawks game? Yeah, why? I want to see Patrick Kane. I want to see Jonathan Toews. Like, fortunate to have two, obviously. But look at some of these other teams. Look at Seattle. Seattle right now. Who do you want to go see? Honestly, I can't give you a name. I genuinely I can't. But if I had to, I want to go see Jordan Eberle. I want to go see Mark Giordano. Like a face. He was a face of that franchise for years. So congrats to Rick Nash on your jersey retirement. Like I said, nobody more deserving than that. Awesome dude. Good human. So yeah, that's all the big news that I could pick out. Probably some more, but I didn't feel like talking about it. It is Sunday night. I got school. I'm actually making my second appearance on a live television sports show. So if you want to check out Senior Sports Bed, check it out. I'll be on there. But looking at next week, just good NHL action. I would just keep turning on that TV, keep watching those games. And I'm going to try to get a guest on here soon. I do go on, so I will have a show Wednesday, have a show Sunday. I'll do that show Sunday from home in Chicago. So, yeah, I'm going home for spring break. And then Wednesday's show is going to be exciting. That'll be the first time I have any guests on. It'll be my boys. We'll talk some hockey, especially my one friend, Jamie. He's a hockey player himself. And we'll be doing it from Miami. So we got exciting stuff coming up here on the pod. I'm super excited for it. I hope you are too. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, and again, shout out to the person who called me from Nova Scotia, Canada. Shout out to you. Him or her, I couldn't really tell on the phone by the voice, but obviously I don't want to, assume your gender or anything like that. So thank you to all of my other fans. If you're out there and you stumble across this, thank you for listening. I'm just a kid doing this because I love it, and I just want to talk sports with you. So I appreciate it. Tell your friends about it. Share my stuff. Like I said, Anchor FM. Go on there. It's a Spotify podcast. I'm on there, full Gongshow. YouTube, Ben Thomas TV. You can look me up. You can see some of my stuff I'm working on at school and everything like that. And then, like I said, the website, benthomas.tv.godaddysite.com. You can find the articles there. We posted another article of a weekly recap in a little bit here. I got to just find the time to write it. So I'm going to write a little recap here and then be on my way. So thank you once again for tuning in to Full Gong Show. I'm Ben Thomas, like always, and I will talk to you all on Wednesday. I hope you guys had an awesome weekend, and I hope you have a great start to your week. Kick off Monday with a bang. Go out there, take on the world, have some fun, enjoy your life, and I will talk to you all again on Wednesday. Peace out.